Today we're going to talk about who's to blame. Who's to blame? Now, I have a lot of customers, and they love to blame, the products that they're using because they feel that they're not making enough progress. So, what you thinking about that, Biz?
Oh yeah, because every time, for example, in my health coach my health coach business, somebody will tell me, "Oh, I have a bloating issue," and then I'll tell them maybe you need HCl, and that's like they will take the HCl for 2 days and they stop taking it, and they will come to me two months later. "Oh, it didn't work. Like, how long did you use that?"
It's
I don't know.
very common things, Carrie, you seen it on your clients in the salon. My God, what do they do whenever they come in? This is not working.
Oh my gosh, it is a common complaint in the hair industry for us, especially with colors. Somebody comes in and they have hair color like mine and they want to go platinum. And then with not using the shampoos or the regimens that we recommend and tell them to use, they don't use it or don't want to pay for it or be like, hey, yeah, no, we got the color I want. And then a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, depending on where they are, they're washing their hair with hot water and they're not using the shampoo or conditioner that we recommended. And they're like, my hair's gone brassy. You didn't do your job properly. No. Back up now.
I wish I had a magic wand, I'll be millionaire for that.
Yeah.
I would be. I would have I would have the dream car. I would have the dream house.
Yeah, no, I mean, people, you have to understand, if you're starting on a program, you're starting a product, at least give the product enough time, to evaluate it properly. And one of the things that I always say to people, take pictures. Take pictures before you start a program, and make sure that the following pictures, are in the same, same angle, same lighting conditions, try to recreate the same picture. So when you take the pictures, you can compare and see what's happening, if it's really working or isn't. Because the problem is, and you see that, Bisan, I mean, when you were working with Wasson Power, I said the name right?
Yeah, you actually said it right.
Yeah. Yeah, we joked around about the name, but
Yeah.
You see those patients, they come in after they go to their surgery, and they're not doing the things that they're doing, and what happens, they start blaming, and when they start seeing the pictures, oh my God,
right.
that's so amazing.
Right. We tell them in the hair surgery, please wash your hair in a certain way, and they don't wash it. Don't bend over for the first 14 days. Don't do workouts because you have local anesthesia. Nobody listens, and they come with like 3-4 grafts in their hands like this. Like,
oh, that's bad.
Because you didn't listen, because you didn't follow the instructions. When you invest in something, invest it till the end. You don't pay the money and leave. Do your homework, do your job. When your trichologist says take your vitamins, when your trichologist says do this, do it for how much the trichologist said, for the amount of time that is designated for you. And here it is, hair loss cannot be hair grow in overnight. We all
I mean, we wish we can do that.
Or I could put extensions in. Extensions work. I could definitely do that.
They do that. Yeah. We can do that.
we need to do the job properly. We need to be responsible. We help people. We teach people what to do.
But that's the thing, some people don't want to be responsible. They want to someone else take responsibility for what's happening to their hair, and they blame you because they're not doing their own work at home. And like, guys, it's simple. Follow the instructions, follow the regime, and then you start enjoying the results. But people don't want to do that.
No, we are in an era where it's fast, and everybody wants fast results. Everybody wants an overnight pill that grows your hair or make me thin or make me strong. Like, I swear I wish. But that is the delusion that we live in. And actually the next generation, it's going to be a worse problem. The next generation, they have the attention of a goldfish, right, Carrie? It's like 20-second attention span. It's like, so when I'm dealing with the younger generation, it's like, I want to grow my hair. My wedding is in a week. I was like, what? In a week?
Am I supposed to pull a rabbit out of the cat? Out of the hat, something like that? No.
even if I call Carrie from Canada now to put you like the whole extensions in the world, is not going to work. So,
no,
that's... We need to sit back and understand. And that's why here in the Hair Wire, it's about science. We need to to understand the root cause, the science behind it, so we can teach it to our clients so they can adhere to the protocol.
And you know, I'm going to add something to that too, because as a trichologist as well, so I'm a beautician and a trichologist. So I see both in the salon chair and I also see in my clinical practice. Now, one thing I do see as well with people trying to come in and start with working with hair growth, sometimes you have to work backwards and reverse engineer
Oh,
to
yeah.
move forward, because I have a lot of times people, and I see a lot of women, especially with nutritional deficiencies, men and women with nutritional deficiencies as of lately. And I'll go in and I'll coach them because I have to have also some training in nutrition, and I'll go and I'll see what the hiccup is. But oftentimes the hair that has already grown out is already brittle, broken, damaged from the lack of nutrients that they got during the time that they were malnourished. And sometimes you do have to go backwards and remember that the hair that's still growing out is still hair. I'm only helping you nourish the new hair that's coming in, not the old hair. As a beautician, I can help you maintain it so it looks healthy and strong, but to fix it after it's grown out, not necessarily. And so a lot of times people will come in and be like, well, my hair's falling out or it's breaking. Well, yeah, we have to also remember the past. This stuff has to grow out for the new stuff to grow in. So, and then a lot of times they also don't realize that slow and steady wins the race. And sometimes you won't see results for 3, 6, 9 months. But we also have to remind ourselves, you guys, that our hair grows on average, and not everybody, on average, 1/4 of an inch a month. If you're the average ratio of the person that your hair grows that fast. And a lot of people forget that. And you may not see an inch worth of growth for 4 months. So you have to consider that. So like, for example, the hair on my head, this is 6 years worth of hair. So if you want to have that long, thick, healthy hair, you know, you have to put in the time. And maybe
you gotta commit. You gotta commit to the time and put the effort on it. And of course, you know, stay connected to the proper regime. I mean, one of the things that I wanted to ask you guys, you know, people always ask, is there a good product for this condition? I mean, every time people keep asking about products, and I always goes to the same answer. You know, there is no bad product, just really advice or wrongly used for the you know, it's not right for that type of condition. It's not right for your hair. It's not right for the type of scalp that you have. What do you guys think about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
It's about how you use it. I've used the cheapest products and just enhance them with an essential oil, or just, you know, simply massaging the scalp, and it's all about technique. So absolutely. Yes. And yes, don't get me wrong, there are really good products out there. But but when it comes to hair growth that's already out, there's no cure for fixing the hair. It's a Band-Aid. Eventually that product will wear off. Yeah.
And also it's a personalized thing too. Hair loss, as we said before, it is due to different reasons. So when you pinpoint the reasons, not one reason, the reasons, then you personalize. Maybe this product will be good for you, and this product will help you a little bit. So you, as a trichologist, will play with like you. It's a really nice dance. You play with it and see what your client needs. And also, just I want to just mention something that Kerry was saying, that sometimes we have to do like reverse engineer, especially when it comes to when people have IBS or any gut issues, which is a huge problem these days because of, you know, the food industry and, you know, the pandemic we are in, not the other pandemic, the food pandemic. So so basically, when these people come with gut issues, you actually, when you subscribe for them, or when you give them the good probiotics, and after you do the correct testing, it gets so worse first, and it has to get worse first to get reversed and get better. So you have to kill all the toxins.
The thing is that many people don't understand that thing, you know, and even when you explain it to them, you know, and they go like, oh, I'm losing more hair. No, it's not that you're losing more hair. You know, you have to shed out sometimes the old, weak ones so you can get the new ones. It's part of the process.
Exactly. When you're trying to fix the gut, that actually putting stress on your body and putting inflammation, that's why you're losing your hair. When you want to fix this gut, it's going to get worse, so worse first, because all the toxins are dying off. And at that time, you're going to have a lot of hair shedding. And if you don't understand as a client, and you as a trichologist, you should explain properly to your client, If they don't understand why this is happening, they won't get adhered to this protocol, and then they come and blame you. Oh, my hair is even worse. Like, no, 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 no. Worse now, because later on it's going to be fixed the proper way.
So in our way to properly balance the equation, once our clients are doing what they're supposed to be doing, when should they expect to see results? Usually,
Let's say they're dealing with a gut issue, let's say that.
hmm
Usually the gut will take somewhere between 3 to 6 months to be repaired. And the hair will take another 3 to 6 months to grow properly. So you're looking for a 1 year commitment,
at
for a
least.
1 year proper commitment.
What do you think,
Mhm.
Carrie?
Yeah, well, it depends on the type of hair loss. I find a lot of people also don't realize there's more than one type of alopecia, which,
Oh yeah.
the industry out there, and a lot of people think I have alopecia. Well, what kind of alopecia? So it all really starts with understanding the type of alopecia they have, if it's a gut issue, a genetic issue, a stress issue, and for us to navigate that, and then that will all change. So yes, like the genetic hair loss, yes, you can see results quicker versus if I have somebody with a nutrient deficiency or gut issue, it'll be a lot different. And even to me, with I see people with growing out their hair, and I use extensions to camouflage it as we grow it, and they don't want to cut their hair. Well, I show them before and after results with it growing and how healthy and thick it is. And I tell them, you're signing in with me for 2 years. Like, if you
Yeah.
want me to coach you to grow your hair from A to B, you are committed to me for 2 years. That's
And the
it.
thing is, yeah, it's important, the commitment, but also, sometimes people need to understand that they're experiencing two or even three types of hair loss at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yes.
Yes.
That
Yes.
complicate things a lot. I mean, you got the androgenetic alopecia, the telogen
Yeah.
effluvium, and sometimes even with some traction or even
Mhm.
alopecia areata, or inflammation of the scalp, subderm, psoriasis. I mean, sometimes I get some of those clients, I call it the you get it all kind of kind of thing, double whammy type of client. You hit the ballpark with this one. So you have to understand that you have to work each of those problems. I always say it's you're putting out 20 fires at the same time. So you start with the smallest one and you work your way to the biggest one. And as you move forward, you start seeing good results. But in between, in the process, you might still experience some hair loss along the way until it finally corrects and you start seeing hair growth. So it's a process, and sometimes it takes longer. I say usually you will start seeing good results within at least minimal results within 30 days. You can see that, but something that it's appreciated by a third person, you have to take at least 6 months. All right.
Mhm.
And some people might see good results after 3 months, but it will depend on their metabolism and how well they adhere to the instructions of the process. And it takes time. It takes time. So, folks, I hope you're getting good information about what we're discussing here today. So it's all about following the footsteps, following, of course, the recommendations, and do what's right for your hair. Don't be crazy. Don't be jumping around from one treatment to another, because that's what gets you bald. You don't want to keep losing your hair. So stick to a program, stick to it until you see results. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, guys, is not seeing hair loss still is a good result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you can take a picture today, and after 3 months, if I still look the same, it's a win.
That's a huge win. Huge.
Of course.
Huge. Yeah,
Of
we're
course.
getting, as a trichologist or a hair expert, we're getting to the root problem of the hair loss. And so if we're telling you that, yes, we'll start helping you with working with better hair growth, but we're also trying to stop the hair loss in its tracks. And that is definitely nailed it on the head. That is great results. You stop that hair loss.
That's why you need the hair wire. You know why? Because it's all about education. Education, education. When you know why you're losing your hair, and when you know the reasons of why you're losing your hair, when you educate yourself, which is why we will be here to help you, then you will stick to the regime and you will have hair growth.
Amen to that. Now, how about those people who want to see, I'm part of different groups, and I see a lot of questions, and people, they keep asking me, and I'm trying to keep up with the questions. Sometimes it's very hard, but I want the hair now. I want hair now.
Toppers and
Why?
hair
$1 million
extensions. Come
now.
see me. I'll charge you a bunch for that. Come on.
I mean, you can do prostheses. I mean, you can do a scalp system, a hair system. There are many things that you can do. We want to see hair now. That's easy. But if you want to grow hair, it doesn't happen overnight, guys. It's very simple as that. It takes time. At least, I mean, from a collagen follicle to start reacting and start producing new hair, it takes about 4 months. So you got to figure out, start growing, and then the amount of hair that you get after it starts growing. So month number 6 is about what, a fourth of an inch, and then growing fourth of an inch on each every other month. It takes time, guys.
I also like to explain it too, is that we have hair armies. So every time our stages of hair come out, a new hair army is coming out, or a new hair army is coming in. So that's why we always have different times that we'll lose more hair than others on top of hair loss. So here in Canada, I'm in northern Alberta, so it's just cold, cold, cold. We tend to see I have a lot of people shed more in October or fall where we are, but it's also season changing. So people get worried. I'm like, no, it's just our body transitioning for the weather changes. And a lot of people don't consider that either too, is that we have armies of hair coming in at different stages, which is what you want.
The other thing is that you see is, when they're getting their hair back, and you see like a bunch of little hairs, like a sunshine. and they start thinking that maybe it's broken hair. It's not broken hair. Sometimes it's new hair, and you have to learn how to differentiate when you're growing new hair and when it's broken hair. When it's broken, you will see that at the end of it, it's it's blunt, it's open. But when it's new, you will see it's thin. It's like like going from thick at the bottom and thin at the end. So you will know that it's a new hair.
Actually, I can show it to you exactly what Sergio is talking about, because I had a postpartum hair loss. My daughter is 8 months old, and it's just exactly like the book. At 6 months, I was shedding like a huge amount of hair, and it just actually I know, I understand, and I have the scientific background to understand it is postpartum hair loss, but still, when you see it, it's just like frustrating, and it is. But anyway, 6 months after 6 months, it started to stop and stabilize. And since 6 months till now, like 2 months, there was no hair loss. And as Carrie said, no hair loss is great. And now I'm happier because there is no hair loss. And now I started to seeing what Sergio is talking about, small army of hair coming out. And it's just like I studied this in books, I teach it, but when it happened to me, it's a totally different story.
You're human after all.
Yeah.
I will call Sergio like, I'm losing my hair. I'm like, Bisan, you know. It's like, no, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not human or anything. No, not at all.
Like emotions don't happen to us. No. I mean, that's the thing. We get emotional about hair.
Yes.
And sometimes leading with those emotions is the first thing that we should address as hair care professionals. Before we even start with treatments, before we even start with dieting, we have to deal with emotions. And sometimes emotions are all over the place. I remember this lady. She came into the office and she started kicking, screaming, throwing chairs at my personal, was like, whoa. She was a small old lady. And I was like, what do I do with what do I do with her? So I invited her. I invited him to my office. Come on, grandma, please come here. Let's talk. So I calmed him down. And after a while, and she cried out, what's her frustrations and everything. And we started talking about it, and she calmed down and she started working with me. And after that first session, when she came back, then we did the consultation, the proper consultation. And then we talk about it more. And then we started doing, treatments for her. And she was actually getting better results out of it. But, working with the emotions is a must. I mean, you get emotional people. Carrie, specifically you in the salon, you get emotional people like crazy. Like,
Yeah. Well, they say that that hairdressers and bartenders are underpaid psychologists because our hair clients tell us more than their actual
true.
psychologists. And yeah, it's true. I've been a part of many of my clients' pivotal moments, and I've had clients for some over 15 plus years, and I've seen their hair in transitions. Like I had one client, very emotional, going under a lot of stress, and he was always cool as a cucumber. He was just Joffrey. He was just always cool as a cucumber. I love that man. He's great. And I remember he was going under stress, and you could see his personality was changing, and he got in a lawsuit with his company, and his hair went 65% gray. And
Wow.
and it was because of the stress and the emotions, and this cool cucumber went from being fun and outgoing to very emotional. Little things would make him cry, everything, and it was all because of the stress and the emotions. And yeah,
Yeah.
it does affect you, which, by the way, his hair is back to 30% less gray versus the 65, all because we manage his stress.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's
but
great.
even myself, like same thing. I don't know if I've ever told you guys my hair loss story, what actually really triggered me into studying trichology, but I have celiac disease and psoriasis. So I know a lot about the two autoimmune disorders.
Yep.
But I remember I was in the shower, and I've always had thick hair, always, always. But I remember I was in the shower, and I'm not kidding, clumps of hair were coming into my
Wow.
hand. It was like a
Yep.
scene from a horror movie. And I remember in the shower shaking and just crying. And I come from a very conservative family. I was raised Roman Catholic, so you don't show much skin. I walked out in front of my mom and my dad in a towel with my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, in a towel. Hands full of hair, just crying. And as a hairdresser, I know, but I tell you, it was like, did somebody put Nair in my shampoo? Did somebody play a nasty trick on me?
Oh.
All the emotions went in my head. And yeah, like you go through these, and everybody's like trying to help me. They couldn't even, I was in so much shock. My mom had to dress me and drive me to my doctor to figure out. And so like, yeah, we're human, and those actions and reactions are going to happen. And until you kind of solve and resolve and figure it out, until you get figure out, you can be brought down and solve what's going on.
Yeah. Now, Miss, when you were doing SMP, I mean, a lot of people get emotional and frustrated, but particularly very afraid of the process sometimes. I mean, they will jump on the needle, like, literally.
Yes. So basically, just to acknowledge what you both guys said, trusting your trichologist, trusting them is the key thing to do, because if you don't trust your trichologist, you're not going to adhere, and then we're going to go in a vicious cycle. But answering your question, Sergio, yes, the people, unfortunately, the people who come to me to do the scalp micropigmentation are either the people who are totally bald, the guys like who has an army shaved head, and these people are easy to deal with because they know what they want. They're not scared of the needles. They're fine. They need a nice hairline and a nicer profile. They have been bald for a long time. They miss their hairlines. But what is the hard part is when I do scalp micropigmentation for density reasons, density for women and men. So unfortunately, not a lot of people know that trichologists exist. And fortunately for them, when they come to me, I am a trichologist as well. So I can camouflage your hair loss in the area, let's say here, with a scalp micropigmentation. It's great. It's not going to hurt your hair at all because we don't go deep. There's no blood involved, all the stuff. It's
If
like
anything, it will stimulate it because it's creating
exactly
circulation.
I was about to say that. It's like a kind of, it's not a mesotherapy, of course, but you kind of, the same concept, let me say.
Like a microneedling type of treatment at the same time.
Yeah. But of course, one dot at a time. Yeah. But so in my work with Dr. Wasserpower for 5 years, people come to a hair surgeon, with all due respects, of course, but they have no idea that they can actually treat their hair while doing SMP. SMP is a great tool to camouflage your hair loss, to make you feel good about yourself, to feel confident, but it is not the solution. It is not. You need to see a trichologist. You need to see a hair surgeon. You need to see somebody qualified to help you stop or minimize your hair loss. And that's why going back to the point of emotional, it is very emotional. People will go under a needle to not look thin. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of women who are scared of needles, and they are willing to do SMP just because they don't want to look very, very thin. And when they trust a trichologist, they will actually have a solution later on. But going back, it takes time,
Yeah,
and it
it's all
takes,
about, taking
yeah,
time and taking
and
trust in
trust.
the process. Yeah. Now,
Trust.
one of the things that you mentioned, sometimes people believe that, for instance, hair transplant is the solution.
No,
Oh my
no.
God.
Hair transplant is the last resort. Hair transplant is a great thing to do, but if you don't have any other options, and
Exactly.
not necessarily everybody can do a hair transplant. A hair
And
transplant,
it's expensive.
it's very
Oh
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that. Okay. I feel like I'm in a movie. And also, not everybody is a candidate. A lot of women, they don't understand that it doesn't
Yep.
actually work for 80% of women. You know why? Because our scalp is very, very sensitive. The amount of hair shock loss that women go through if they go through a surgery, it's actually worse than any hair loss they ever had. And
The problem is that, you go to a good doctor and they will say
yes,
to you, you're not a candidate. And yet they buy tickets and go to Turkey to get their
exactly.
hair transplant.
Exactly, exactly. Oh my God. And they don't, that's the thing. People need a channel like this, the hair wire. Please listen, because
Yep.
not everybody, especially 80% of women, are not candidates for a hair surgery. Before you do a hair surgery, there's a million of things you can do to save your hair and at least stop your hair loss. At least stop your hair loss. Just you need education. That's all what you need. And as Sergio said in the beginning, there was a huge gap in the internet on YouTube. There's no people who are talking about education. And you don't have to pay money to get educated. Come here,
Yeah,
we will educate you. We already went through all this. We have the experience, and we are here to do exactly that. And you don't have to pay money. You have to
that's
subscribe.
right.
Oh,
You stick here with the hair wire. Now, Carrie, you seen hair transplant after, after people get from the hair transplant, they go to your chair to get their hair done and everything. And, the expectation sometimes is that, after the hair surgery done, they don't have to do anything else. What do you think about that?
No, there's maintenance to it as well. A lot of times they'll get it and they don't take the proper care in, treating it. It's just like growing a garden. You could plant the
Yep.
seeds, but you're not gonna grow the seeds and that's it. You still have to harvest it. You still have to maintain it. You still have to nurture it. Same thing with the hair after the transplants. And I commonly see that all the time. It's, proper shampoo and, and if you haven't had hair for a long time, they think that they could just use any generic shampoo and, skip the shampoos. There is a process to follow. And I do see that quite common. Or even after people get extensions and they finally take the extensions out and finally have the hair thick and long the way they want it. And there are extension people who put them in and don't cut or trim the hair in between, and their hair is worse off than when they put them in.
Yep.
But if you have, which is a whole topic on its own, it could be a full playlist, which I would love to have a playlist on that. But if you have someone who knows,
we're gonna be covering that, folks. We're gonna be covering that in the future episodes. Yeah, we're gonna be doing that.
But then you'll have the ones that will come in, and like myself, I and a few other extensionists that we know, we'll put the extensions in, we'll maintain it, get their hair growing back healthy, and we'll get it to where they wanted it, to the point they could get the extensions out. And then they go back to their old way and
Yep.
not cutting it regularly, not putting their serums in, not trimming it, bleach blonding it, over bleaching it, flat iron it. And then they come back within 6 months and they're like, my hair's crappy again.
That's the thing. People think that they bought a solution and they forgot that there's maintenance into the process. I mean, if you go after surgery and you do not keep, if you have androgenetic alopecia and you did a surgery, you have to keep using your minoxidil. You have to keep doing your finasteride, because if you don't, the hair that was not transplanted, the one that was already there, you're going to be losing that one. And the same thing with the hair extensions. I mean, you put the extensions, you start making it looking longer and everything. But if you don't trim the ends, if you don't use the hair mask, you don't start using the proper shampoo,
Serums.
you neglect the proper care for your hair, then what was all that sacrifice using the hair extensions for what? For what,
And also like going cheap on hair transplants.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, extensions
uh,
too. I see that so common. They don't want
yep.
to spend the money on the good
I know,
quality, 100% human cuticle
I
correct.
know, I
And then
know,
they wonder where their hair's all matted.
I know. Like you need to do your homework. You need to do your homework.
No, not even your homework. You have to trust the expert, because there's,
Exactly.
I don't know where you live. In Canada, hair extensions are not regulated.
Oh,
My
okay.
husband could go tomorrow and decide to apply extensions to somebody, and it is okay. He's
Oh,
not allowed to
Okay.
color or cut it, but he's allowed to put the extensions in. So that's commonly happening everywhere here. And
yeah.
so you'll have somebody like, I'm an extensionist, I know what I'm doing. And here, this is the hair, it's the best hair, it's human hair. And then they go and put in this crappy hair, gets matted, gets tangled. You have to do your homework. Go check qualifications. You have
Yeah.
100% right. Look at me in the camera. You have 100% right to ask qualifications, show qualifications, and ask for a portfolio. And a business license is not the same as a cosmetology license. And I find a lot of industry professionals will go in and get their hair done and go to a licensed barber or a licensed salon. Yeah, maybe they have a business license, but make sure they have an industry license or a certification or something of that credential in their area. Trichology.
Amen. Amen to that.
I
Hallelujah.
know.
As we are 3 trichologists, we are accredited trichologists. We've gone to school for our time. We went to school for a very long time just to learn trichology. Yeah. We know what we are talking about. We didn't take a
We paid a lot of money.
Paid a
And
lot
that's
of
another
money.
thing. I mean, folks, if you're looking for good trichologist, ask how long did it took you to achieve that certification? Because if it took you, took you 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, start running, out of that place. Okay, start running.
Trichology is like biology. Trichology, it's a science.
It takes years, guys. It takes years to complete a certification program. So it's nothing. It's not something that you're gonna get overnight. And I mean, I've been a certified trichologist for 24 years. I still haven't figured all out. There are still things that I still need to learn, that I'm learning to this day. So that's why I invest on different certifications, different educational programs, continuous education. I mean, this is why, because we have to keep learning, keep evolving, and keeping up with the new stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of new stuff coming up. Biz, you're a researcher. I remember we talked a while back about different new stuff. We were talking about exosomes, PDOs, and whatnot. What have you seen coming new and on the pipeline?
Actually, exosome is a little bit controversial still till now, because the source of it, where they like, it's just the thing that it has an ethical part to it too. But it is very promising. It's really very promising. Theoretically speaking, like the PRP, when it started, the PRP, theoretically speaking, it's great because it's a lot of growth factors you injected, you rejuvenate that area. But now the thing that with exosomes, for example, they hit a wall with the delivery system. How you want to deliver it to your scalp without doing a lot of damage to your hair follicles. And that's why I heard recently said somebody bought the TEDx, which is a great delivery system. So all these particles are great. Even the PRP is great in itself. The peptides are great, the copper peptides, the exosomes, but the delivery system is the problem. And here where Sergio is going to talk to us about TED.
Yeah, we're talking about, I mean, the thing about TED is that, we're able to deliver all of these nutrients to the skin without causing an injury, like, for instance, the needle. Now, I have to say, we have other methods, for instance, microneedling, PRP, exosomes, peptides, the big boys, and I call them the big boys of the industry
Yeah, they
because
are the
that's
big
what they are,
boys.
they're the big boys,
They're
if you want to
expensive.
get hair like fast, that's where you want to go. But you don't want to go there without actually working with your blood, because the thing is that it will depend, this type of treatments depend on what's happening, what's is available on your blood. So if you haven't worked out with your nutrients, if you haven't got your leaky gut under control, if you don't have your those other factors under control,
your toxicity. Like people will be unfortunately, most people in the United States, the toxic level toxicity in their body is like off the limits, of the charts, because of all the environmental things we have in here. And then they go and they do PRP, and some surgeons, some dermatologists, like they don't tell them that let's first work with your inner body, with your nutrition. Let's take the inflammation down. Like, like a simple test called ESR, and it is covered by insurance. It's really a simple test. We don't know about it. If you ask your primary doctor to do it for you, you will know your inflammation level. And it's really cheap test to do. If you have a very high inflammation level in your body, that means you have some chronic disease going on, maybe because of toxicity, maybe because of malnutrition, maybe because of all kinds of things. But you don't go with a very high inflammation level and go to a dermatologist, let them take your blood out with all the heavy metals in it and inject it in your hair. You know what happens?
Yep.
You will just increase the toxic load to your scalp.
Oof.
And I don't get it. Like, I am not a doctor, but it doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, that's why I love the epigenetic testing. Carrie, you have that device on your clinic, and you use it to especially, extract that type of information. What do you see with that?
Oh, I love it. Well, first off, I do have a diploma in epigenetics as well on top of the epigenetics testing. But for myself, because I have a background in epigenetics, I don't only use that part to study what's going on, because I am a firm believer that stress is a huge factor of hair loss. And I study 4 areas of stress. I've put them in 4 areas. Intake stress, which I use that epigenetics machine to navigate the intake stress that's affecting us internally. And then the next one is your emotional stress. So your heavy emotional load that you have. So the way you let stress affect you. And sometimes it's just changing your perception. And sometimes, especially with COVID, like if you go out and people get high anxiety, they take that as an emotional overload. Well, that has a cross effect in causing stomach issues, headache issues, digestion issues, mind, body, spirits. It's all connected, and we often forget that. Then we also have residual stress, which is stress that has been harvested, or stress that we haven't addressed, such as trauma or perceived perceptions or the way we were raised. And then the 4th one is physical stress. I've even seen hair loss due to a lack of circulation from, tension in shoulders.
Yes, that's a big one.
Yeah, so with my training as somebody with an epigenetics background, I navigate all 4 areas of stress with the subcategories under them. And then I move to the epigenetics machine that we're talking about, specifically targeting intake stress. So intake stress would be everything your body consumes, including Wi-Fi's from your phone, food, medication, shampoo you put on your head, laundry detergent. It picks it all up. And yes, I will. If I have anybody with hair loss and they want to do some deep work with me, I always make them do that test first. I could give you the treatments, I could give you the solutions, but if internally we haven't addressed that stress or the type of stress, we're not going to really get that far ahead. We will in bite-sized pieces, but if we want to be progressive in the way we get our hair loss solution fixed, we need to investigate these 4 areas and go deep. So
that's why the basis of everything that we do as trichologists is in the tricho analysis. We will examine the scalp, we will examine the hair, and even for the 3 of us, we do online consultations. So usually we can do consultations with the camera, or we can send a kit so we can collect hair samples, or so you can have a device to look into the scalp and see what's going on, so we can get a better view we can get the data, the real data. My Spanish starts kicking in, so we get the data, and when we got that data, guys, we can collect and we can build a profile to direct you to the promised land here. Yeah. All right, so you want to get there, you want to get you first of all, you want to keep your hair, and then you can start growing your hair. So in order to keep your hair, there's a lot of things that underneath that we need to deal with. So guys, start clicking right now, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and of course, if you want to get in contact with us, visit our website, thehairwire.com. Send us an email, and we can get to you as soon as possible. Whether you want to get a consultation with Bisan, with Carrie, with myself, hey, we're here for you guys, and we're here to take care of you and your hair needs, guys. So comment, please bring your comments, bring your questions. Next show, we're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff. So stay tuned, guys. And what's next? What's next, Carrie? What else do we say?
I think we should talk about the most common one that everybody knows about is genetic hair loss.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to be talking next week about
pattern hair loss.
What?
Male and female pattern hair loss.
Male and female pattern hair loss. That's it, guys. So stay tuned to the Hair Wire. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button.
Yeah, subscribe. Yep, hit the notification bell.
The Hair Wire.
Bye.